Hello, and welcome to the Mid-Ohio Valley Public Forum video podcast. I'm Jennifer Bryant.
And I'm Kim Van Ryn.
And we're your co-hosts. The pandemic has changed life quite a bit in our country.
And this is an election year. Candidates have not been able to campaign for office the way they normally would. We hope this podcast will help you to get better acquainted with the candidates and make a more informed choice when you vote.
And speaking of voting, Election Day is just around the corner. Early voting begins Wednesday, October 21st, and runs through the 31st. Then comes Election Day, the very last day to vote. That's November 3rd. It's a Tuesday, of course. Our podcasts are available on multiple platforms, our Facebook page, our Twitter, and our YouTube, as well as on your favorite podcast platform, including Spotify.
All right.
Today we'll be interviewing Mayor Tom Joyce. Tom is the current mayor of Parkersburg, and he's running for re-election. Welcome, Mayor Joyce. We're delighted you could join us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, for those who may have missed it, we had a conversation with Mayor Joyce during the primary. We're going to link that down in the comments below. But for those who didn't see that, give us a short introduction on who Tom Joyce is and why he decided to run for re-election.
Sure. So I'm a lifelong resident of Wood County. I grew up here. I graduated from Parkersburg Catholic High School in 1992. Went on to Marshall University. After completing undergraduate work there, I attended West Virginia University, got a couple of master's degrees, went to work at St. Joseph's Hospital, worked there for approximately 20 years, and then at the end of my healthcare career, was working for Cam Clark Medical Center. My background was in human resources, personnel management. At the end, I did a lot of environmental compliance, safety, regulatory kind of stuff. And over the years, I did a lot of engineering and maintenance, supervising kind of stuff, and risk management, risk assessments. So primarily my background is in healthcare. And then since 2003, I've also owned and operated St. Joseph's Ambulance Service here in town with a equity partner, full equity partner. He and I have ran that operation since 2003. Started off with, right around 25 or so employees. I think now we're up to about 140, 150, kind of depending upon the pay cycle, how many folks work in a given pay cycle. But I've lived in Parkersburg since 1996, after having grown up in Vienna.
So, Mayor Joyce, we take for granted that you're running for mayor again to benefit the people of Parkersburg.
Sure.
So can you tell us what you see as the three largest problems facing Parkersburg today?
Yeah, I think for starters, let me say it's really hard to pick three as the biggest, because there are several challenges that we have. But three of those in that larger group, I would say, would be an aging infrastructure, and infrastructure that is including parks, streets, stormwater management, all of the above. It's very expensive work, and oftentimes over the last 25, 30 years, there's been a lot of deferred maintenance or deferred projects that just because it was so expensive, for lack of a better reason. And that's not to begrudge previous administrations or city councils, but the reality of it is the older those things get, the bigger problem they're going to have. So I think the aging infrastructure throughout the city is certainly one thing that's a significant challenge. More recently, we have a growing homeless population, and homeless persons aren't a problem in and of themselves, but oftentimes the behaviors that a lot, not all, but a lot of homeless persons exhibit are without question undesirable, oftentimes criminal, and that creates significant problems, fear, safety concerns amongst the citizens, particularly residents in certain neighborhoods where there's a increase in that population. And then probably the last thing I would pick, and these the homeless piece and the this next one are certainly linked, would be just the opioid addiction crisis. There's and I don't think those problems, any of those, quite frankly, any of the three that I mentioned, are unique to Parkersburg. The larger community in any given region is always going to see more of the homelessness and some of those types of things because the services are generally located in your larger communities. But I don't think those challenges or problems are unique to Parkersburg. But those would be three that, just having very little time to prepare, I would say those are three things that are certainly top of mind, at least today.
Well, I think that, a lot of folk have expressed that those are issues. And the difference between a leader is often having the plan or a solution in mind to combat those problems. So tell us your plans to address those issues.
Sure. Well, for starters, with infrastructure, I think that if you really look at what has happened in the city of Parkersburg over the last 3-4 years, there's been an unprecedented investment in with regards to infrastructure. I mean, we've averaged $2.2 million in street paving since I've been in office, which is far and away, I think the previous maximum amount in any given year was about $750,000. And I would say the same about our stormwater management. The one difference between stormwater is we've been very fortunate to have some outside the box kind of solutions presented to us through our city engineer, with some in-ground retention, and started really focusing on lining old pipes before they became to the damaged or wore out to the point that they needed full-blown replacement. So a little more proactive approach and outside the box thinking approach with regards to stormwater management. And then so with regards to infrastructure, I would just say more of the same, what we've done, making it a priority, building consensus with council and a sense of cooperation. And I think the current city council certainly understands the significance and the need for the investment in those infrastructure items. And that also includes our parks. I mean, parks, probably the biggest, most frequent compliment I get is about how well maintained the parks have been over the past 4 years. And that includes both the city and Southwood Park. And we have other parks as well. We've done lighting upgrades at Quincy Park. And there's just been a lot of investment and attention given to the parks in general. So I consider that all to be infrastructure related. So as far as a plan, I would, if afforded the privilege of serving another 4 years as mayor, I would certainly want to continue in the same path, just making it a priority, and then, directing funds towards those priorities. And that stuff's not cheap. There's no such thing as a government rate for concrete or asphalt. I mean, those things come with a cost. So that's with regards to infrastructure. The big thing with regards to the homeless population, I think we need to do a better job of liaisoning, particularly those persons who have legitimate problems and create additional problems for the community, and connecting those folks with real solution-based resources. There's a lot of great organizations in the community, a lot of generous people who want to feed those in need, provide clothing, shelter, but and there are opportunities for folks to get the help they need to make that lifestyle change. But I think that's something that we can do better. And I think there's also components with regards to the state legislature as far as working to make those, get those folks connected to the help that they need. And those folks, they need to want help. I mean, it's not just about getting them, hooked up with someone who can get them into a program or something like that. But, those are just some of the things that I think need to be done. And most of it's common sense. We started a program here with regards to homeless relocation, and we've seen some success. It's not been, you know, hundreds of folks returned back to their home, but when someone comes here from another community, and that could be a community that's in the state of West Virginia, many are from out of the state of West Virginia, I think that the proper thing to do is get those folks back home where they have loved ones and resources who can help them get their life back together. And we've had some limited success, partnered with some nonprofits in the area who make sure that those things are done safely and efficiently to, you know, to make sure that these people aren't just, you know, stuck on a bus and sent somewhere. So those are just some of the things that I think we have done and need to continue to do. But, you know, it's ever evolving. I mean, you know, these types of problems change all the time. And just when you think you've got headway on something, another roadblock appears. But the best thing to do with regards to those things is just use common sense. What makes sense for the individual to keep them safe and what's fair to the community and that kind of stuff.
Well, we don't often have the opportunity as voters to get personally acquainted with our candidates. And so we'd like to take a couple of minutes to ask you a few questions designed to help voters get to know Tom Joyce, the person, not Tom Joyce, the mayor or the candidate.
Sure.
What would you say you're most passionate about?
Certainly my family, you know, my mom. I've got 3 brothers that you know, I mean, families always, I was raised in a family where we were encouraged in more ways than one to look out for each other and to do the right thing and to keep each other on the straight and narrow. So certainly the thing I'm most passionate about is my family. And I have a lot of close friends, very blessed in that regard to have a lot of close friends that are just like family to me. And that's certainly something just in general that I've always been passionate about. I'm probably most passionate about that. I have a lot of other interests, but as far as being truly passionate about things, it's certainly my family would be first and foremost, and then my faith, and then after that, probably people who depend on me for, you know, whether it be from a leadership perspective, not necessarily as mayor, but, you know, like I said, I've got employees. I've managed people, both, you know, in my healthcare career and with the ambulance service for a lot of years, and I think it's important that you treat people with respect and dignity, because in the end, that's what's gonna really be the measure. It's not about how much money you make or you know, what your accomplishments were. You know, in the end, I would much rather folks say, you know, that Tom Joyce, he was a good person. He was a good friend. He was a good brother. He was a good son. That's all way more important than being a good mayor or a successful business owner or any of those kind of things. So I guess that's what I'm most passionate about is just my family, my faith, and treating people, you know, the right way and doing the right thing.
So what qualities do you look for in the people and value in the people around you?
Specifically with regards to like subordinates and
No, just the people in your life. The people
certainly
in your
honesty and integrity. I mean, there's got to be a level of trust. That would be first and foremost. You know, just good old fashioned common decency. You know, again, you know, how do they treat others? How do they treat their friends? How do they treat the people that they work with or work for? That kind of stuff. You know, I personally, I mean, I love being around people who make me laugh. You know, I consider myself to have a pretty robust sense of humor, and people that can make me laugh or that appreciate my sense of humor, that goes a long way with me just from a everyday personal. You know, you're going to have a lot more fun on the golf course or on a fishing trip with people that you can joke around with and laugh with than you are people who are just going to be great golfers or great fishermen. So the humor goes a long way with me, but certainly integrity and honesty, and then just common decency are first and foremost. But after that, give me someone who can put a giggle in me.
Well, those are in short supply, it seems, recently.
Yeah.
What do you like to do in your off time?
I'm a big outdoor guy. I love to hunt and fish. I grew up hunting and fishing. My brothers and I spent countless hours with my dad and my Uncle Phil and several others over the years, just spending time in the woods. You know, I tell you, I can honestly say I feel sorry for people who have never had the opportunity to experience what you do with a bunch of great people at a fish camp or out on a hunt trip. You know, those are just some of the best memories of my life, and I'll do that stuff for as long as I'm physically able. I really like the outdoor stuff. I do play a little golf. I'm getting better. I'm still not very good. And other than that, I read a lot. I enjoy um, sports in general. I like to watch, various ball games, football, baseball. I'm a wrestling fan, big wrestling fan. I watch a lot of high school and college wrestling. Kind of just the basic stuff. I keep bees, and I grow blueberries and strawberries, and anything that can get me outside, I'm all about it.
Well, with that, we've come to the end. It's time for us to give you a few minutes to tell us and the voters anything you think we need to know that we haven't already covered, including how to get more information on your campaign, get a yard sign, donate, etc.
Sure. I guess the thing I'd like to tell the voters is, we talked today about challenges and problems, issues that are facing, but I guess the first thing I'd say is, and I alluded to it before, the challenges that we have here in Parkersburg are not unique. We didn't create this problem over the last 10 or 20 years. So I think we're very similar to a lot of communities our size throughout West Virginia and the United States. And then the other piece of it is for all the problems that we have and the challenges that are before us, Parkersburg remains a great place to live. I spend a lot of my time out and about, driving our neighborhoods, meeting with citizens, checking out projects that our public works folks are doing. And we still have a lot of fantastic neighborhoods in Parkersburg. I would put our parks up against any municipal park system in West Virginia, for sure. So sure, we have dilapidated housing, slum and blight that we need to cure, but we still have a lot of great neighborhoods and a lot of great things going on in Parkersburg. So I think, and that's something that's important to me, not to focus on the negative stuff. The negative things can drag you down pretty daggone quick, but in reality, there's still a lot of wonderful people that live here in Parkersburg. There's still a lot of wonderful businesses that while the pandemic may have been tough on them, they're still doing well and doing the right thing and creating jobs and those kind of things. So that's probably the biggest message I'd like to get across is it's not all bad. We do have challenges and you can't lose sight of that, but those are the things that I would want to communicate. As far as the campaign goes, you can follow what's going on I have a Facebook page, Tom Joyce for Mayor. As far as donations or any of that kind of stuff, I think the hay's pretty much in the barn at this point when it comes to that. So I'm not going to solicit any more funding from anybody at this point. But, I just encourage people to go out on November 3rd or absentee or early voting and vote. It's I'm 47 years old, almost 47 years old, and I have never missed an opportunity to vote. And that's something that I take a lot of pride in. And I think it's really important that folks get out and exercise that right, because there's a lot of things that make the United States the greatest country in the world. And November 3rd is one of them, if not the most important. So I really just encourage folks to get out to vote and stay safe. It's been a tough year. 2020 has been a hard year, but most of what we're being asked to do is common sense stuff. Washing your hands. I learned that in kindergarten. I just ask folks to be safe, be smart, take care of your neighbors, and make sure you get out and vote. And I would consider it, I have considered it a privilege to serve as mayor for the last 4 years. It's a responsibility that requires a lot of dedication, a lot of cooperation, and I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish since I've been in this job. And I just ask for folks to continue that trust that they afforded me 4 years ago, and I'm confident that we can continue to improve things and keep on doing the good work that we've done. So that's all I have.
All right. Well, Mayor Joyce, thank you for joining us this morning. We've appreciated the chance to talk to you and to help the voters get to know you
Sure.
a little better. And everyone, remember, stay safe and wash your hands.